Now we'll go over some of the challenges of a CSR. As with any career, there will be challenges. It's good to thoroughly understand what your challenges are going to be and that they can occur daily. I want to equip you with a general knowledge of the types of challenges you will face. Preparation for those challenges is key in avoiding or navigating through them and helps you to be more successful and happy with your work. The biggest challenge at first is possibly going to be an ongoing challenge, and that is the learning curve. Learning and understanding your company's processes, products, and software systems can be a challenging undertaking. The more you know, the more customers you can satisfy, and the less stress you'll experience. It also helps to properly direct calls and to problem solve. How do you handle angry customers? It's necessary to have a game plan to help you get through these tough calls. This will be discussed later in more detail, but it's good to empathize toward their situation. Reassure them and focus them on the issue and not on their emotional state, which is how you can listen as well. Focus on their words and not how they're saying them. Another type of client is someone who's in a different geographical location. This can dictate some of the products or services that are available to them, as well as different accents, phrases, and behaviors that can pose as a unique challenge. Let's talk about this just for a minute, as this is important to address, and it's the language barrier that does exist, even within the United States. It's important to remember that we are a global business economy. This caller could be calling from another country or from the US. This caller can be calling from England, and even though you both speak English, it's a different style of English, and not all the words or phrases are understood. This can obviously cause frustration on both sides, and in the end, lower customer satisfaction. What you may need to do is slow your speech down and make sure you enunciate your words and ask the caller to slow their speech down or even restate certain phrases that may not make sense to you, if it's necessary. If they're not being understood by you or the customer, then it's time to ask questions to try a different approach. It helps to redirect the conversation at times. This way, understanding can be achieved on both sides. If verbal communication is just not working, then perhaps you can ask a coworker to see if they will have an easier time understanding the caller. Your supervisor may also be able to jointly listen to the call with you and provide assistance. And according to your company's guidelines, there may also be alternative methods of communication that you can suggest, such as email or fax or even online chat. You may need to check with your company's guidelines, as I said, before offering your email address to a customer, but this could be a solution to satisfying your customer's request. It is important to value each culture and language. It is also equally important to realize your own dialects, which may cause customers not to understand you as well. This could be as obvious as English not being your first language, as it is a tough language to learn. This can cause words to be pronounced differently and not always as easy to understand. It can also cause customer requests not to be fully understood, as you are not catching the meaning of what the customer is saying. It will really help in this situation to make sure that you're repeating and confirming key points communicated to you by the customer. It could be less obvious, such as It could be less obvious, such as using terms of endearment, like honey and darling, that's the dialect that you're not coming across clearly in using. But that's the way people talk where you grew up. Just like if you're from New York or Boston, you're going to have some phrases that maybe aren't completely understood by someone who lives in the South or on the West Coast. These are some examples that you may or may not deal with. But how you pronounce your words is important, and you need to strive towards a neutral dialect as much as possible in order to reach more people, at least while you're at work. The next on our list of challenges that you will most likely face is when there's a known issue causing several problems or outages, but there's no fix and you're not sure how to redirect or assure customers. This could be a known outage of all the tracking systems that are causing delivery of packages to come to a halt. I worked at a telecommunications company where a technician brought down FedEx's network due to an error. This affected their entire East Coast operations. You may have a way of receiving critical updates to let you know when these types of issues occur. But until then, this type of call is a stressful one, as it can take a while to find the cause and correct it, especially when your customer's bottom line is directly affected. There may also be cyclical changes. That would be another type of challenge that you face, such as a customer having certain types of concerns at the end of the month or the end of a quarter. If your company sells accounting software, you know your call volumes may increase at the end of the month when they're rushing to finish their balances. It's good to share this type of information with your teammates also, so that they can set their expectations as well, knowing this will be a busy call day. The angry caller is an obvious challenge, and we will address that in more detail later in this course. Another challenge are processes that you do on a daily basis that need to be improved and are hindering your efficiency and the ability for you to solve problems. These solutions may be out of your control, but offering up solutions to these processes to your supervisor can show your ability to be a leader. Another issue that you may deal with is lack of authority to resolve the customer's issues, and this may occasionally get in the way because you have to transfer a call to another person or a department or even ask a supervisor to finish the call for you. Sometimes this is done for the customer's protection, but this can bring down your call efficiencies. But in the end, may be a protection, like I said, for the customer. It's not good when any employee has access to just any company or customer information, and that's why sometimes these policies are in place.